is up, beautiful people? My name is Ray, and I'm from Alluring Serpents, and you're now tuned into my favorite reptile podcast. If you're returning, you already know. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the messages that I've been getting. A lot of awesome things are transpiring from starting this podcast, and I just, it's for you guys and for myself as well. And everything I'm getting back from it has just been amazing. So, salute to you guys. Wouldn't be here doing this without you. So, definitely appreciate that. Love you very much. If you're new here, like I said, this is my favorite reptile podcast. This is where we focus on the business end of the reptile industry, and we have successful business owners come on the show, and we kind of go along their journey from when they first started to where they're at now, and we talk about good practices, business practices that have led them to where they are. So you're definitely in for a treat if this is something of interest to you. If you're an entry level breeder and you want to take things more seriously, this is definitely where you want to be. Um, so if you are new here, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you sub, hit that notification bell so you never miss a live. And yeah, salute. Appreciate you being here for sure. Um, let's see. Typically, if you're new here, we do a little giveaway at the end of every show for a t-shirt, which is a My Favorite Reptile podcast t-shirt. I'm a little backed up on getting everybody's stuff out, but it is made. I just got to get it mailed out. So if you're waiting on your t-shirt, it will be here soon. And it actually comes customized. Check this out. That's my boy, Pat from Dragon Soul. He was the first winner on My Favorite Reptile podcast giveaway. So it says episode 1, Bomb Projects. If you do win the t-shirt from this episode, yours will say episode 7, Canadian Reptile Adventures. And you can hit me up in in the DMs on Instagram. Let me know your shirt size and your address, and that's what's up. That's how that goes. Yo, look at Pat's smile. I love Pat's smile. Lights up the room. All right. I've been getting a lot of people that have been asking me, Ray, how do I contribute or donate to the show? How do I support you? And the truth is, I'm not monetized on YouTube, so I can't do super chats and things like that. But what I can do is accept donations through Cash App. So right down here, you're gonna see to donate to the channel. You can use Cash App. The account is Family First 753. If you'd like a shout out in the next show for your donation, then you can just leave that in the notes and say, "Yo, Ray, shout me out," and I got you. Okay. Um, Speaking of that, yo, big shout out to. Am I lagging right now? Jesus Christ! Listen, it's been storming like crazy every single show, every Friday. There's a storm here. I'm in Florida. This is like storm season. Um, so this is kind of annoying. I think I'm lagging. I don't think I've had a smooth show yet, guys. Let me give it a second and see if it catches up to me. All right, am I lagging, guys? Let me know in the chat. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just cannot get a smooth show without something happening, but that's okay. This is real life, and we're live right now, so shit happens, and we just gotta roll with the punches. So, like I was saying, we have a donation thing on Cash App. You can donate to the channel. Big salute to Joe, Dr. Joe from Kingdom Pythons. Really appreciate your donation, big dog, and appreciate the others that have donated. Really means a lot, and it's definitely helping me move forward with things and taking a little load off my shoulders. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Salute, salute, salute. God bless you guys. Um, Again, really, really appreciate that. Also, yo, shout out my boy KG Bomb Projects and D Bomb Projects. I got that Bomb Project drip today, baby. I'm feeling good, rocking my homeboy stuff. I hope you guys actually have a great show this weekend. They're gonna be vending over at Anaheim. I've been seeing pictures and videos of all the homies out there hanging out, and I just think that's super duper cool. Can't wait for Daytona, where we will also be seeing a lot of big dogs and all the homies from across the country that are coming in. Super excited to see you guys. I am lagging like crazy on my end. I might actually back out and come right back, guys. So just bear with me for a second. Okay, so hopefully that fixed it. We don't have to do that again. So yeah, did I touch down on everything? Oh yeah, listen, after this is Hair Down Friday, where it's a bunch of us and we all get together, reptile breeders, we all get together, we show off animals. We always have new people coming on. It's a wonderful time. It's kind of like a real relaxed environment where we're joking and we're showing animals and we're talking projects and we're talking different combos and genetics and all kinds of fun stuff. So after this show, get yourself a little snack, and at 8:15, you're gonna want to come back to Keys Constrictor's YouTube channel and check us out on Hair Down Friday. And make sure you're in the comments chatting because we don't like stalkers, right? All right, guys. So I'm gonna shout out the chat right now, and then we're gonna get to the man of the hour because it's definitely you're definitely not here for me. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there's a lot of comments right now. That's crazy. So I did see Holly first. I don't know why it's not there right now, but shout out to Holly. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. You already know. Hey, Paul, Large Marge Morris, what's going on, brother? Wayne and Alice. Yo, watching from across the pond. I love that. Yo, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm not sure if it's past your bedtime just yet, but I know we'll be by hair down, and you guys are still here showing love and support, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys. Boy, this Comcast Xfinity Wi-Fi is not my friend today. Villarino Reptiles, Big Dog, the CEO of the V Unit, which you can go subscribe to the V Unit on Instagram subscription. Check out Villarino Reptiles, and that's where you can find it. Doing amazing things, building a beautiful community of people. Lots of knowledge and information to be shared there and to be learned. So definitely tap into the V Unit on Instagram subscription. Villarino Reptiles, super dope. More Valley Reptiles. What's going on, man, Freddie? Appreciate you, bro. If I'm lagging too much, let me know in the comments, guys, because for me, it is way behind. Let's see who else we got. Constricted Creations. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Oh, Lord. It's going to be one of those shows, guys, I guess. Mother Nature is not on my side every Friday for the past 5 Fridays. Alex M., what up, what up, what up? Appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. Morph Master J, Johnny, yo, 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 what up? Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you. I got you on them rodents tomorrow. Sorry I couldn't do it for you today. Lou Balls, what's popping? Yo, everything is good, brother. Everything is good. Who else we got? We got Don D in the house. What's going on, Don D? Appreciate you. Marino, what's going on? You already know. Ball Pythons, go check them out on social media platforms. Definitely dope. Yo, Justin Stone Age, what's going on? Been waiting all day for this. Yes, man. Appreciate that very much, bro. Hope I do not let you down. Teddy Supart, that's my homie outside of the reptile industry. Appreciate you, brother. Love you, man. Glad you're here checking this out. Let's see who else we got. Tommy from Inky Clouds, always appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great day. Who else we got? There we go. Big Dog, Brock, sponsor of the last episode, Morphinary Arts. Beautiful people indeed, sir. Thank you for being here. Hyperspace, Chad, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. The young boy, Joey D. What's going on, Big Dog? You guys can actually check out Joey D on Sophisticated Ignorance, which is Wiz Constrictor's YouTube channel. They do a podcast every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely don't want to miss out on that. Joey D dude, you be having me cracking up sometimes, dog. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Shout out to the Wiz. He also got a Patreon, so go check that out. The Wiz Tang Clan. Lord, I'm so laggy. I don't even know if it's coming in clear, guys. Mitzi Ann, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Love ya. All right, let me just go through a couple more and then we'll get to the goods. No Limit Pythons, what's popping? What's popping? Thank you for being here. Jamie, Rising Phoenix, Reptiles, what's going on? Happy Friday. Yes, indeed, it is a happy Friday. What's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. Big Dan, the man. Vision Quest Reptiles, go check out Dan. He's working some amazing projects, super dope. Bailey's, what's going on? Got your shirt done, but it's not mailed out yet, but I got you. Pressure Pythons, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. What's popping? What's popping? What's popping? Ebony and Ivory, yo, what up, fam? Hey, if you guys didn't catch it, go check out Big Tank Hank on YouTube, where Ebony and Ivory Reptiles were there. Talking about their adventure, man. This reptile adventure that we're all on. They're doing amazing things, so definitely go check that out. That's super dope. Let's see. Oh, who's this guy? Canadian Reptile Adventures, Big Dog Jason, what's poppin'? Yeah, we're gonna pull him out in just a second. Dude, I'm so laggy. This is embarrassing. Yo, somebody DM me some good shit that I could buy to make this easier for me. Unless it's just my connection. Yo, Craft Brew, what's going on, Big Dog Kent? Go check him out every Saturday at 4 p.m. where he also has a podcast. And I believe he also has one every Thursday morning, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. All right, let's get through it. Let's get through it. I think we're good, man. Juan Maldonado was popping. There he is right there. Herp Collectors. What's going on, Big Mike? Make sure you check him out every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Clutch Conversations. Hey, Jeremy, what's poppin'? Warful Morphs. Go check him out every Sunday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. He also has a podcast where he's doing awesome things and doing a great job. Appreciate you being here, bro. All right, let's see. Just a couple more. You already know I got to salute the big dog Bosa, super supporter of the entire industry, doing big things. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being here. All right, that's it. Enough of me. Enough of you guys. I'm going to kick that intro video, and we're going to get to the minute of the hour. All right, guys. I guess I was lagging a little bit on my end, so I don't know if that whole video played, but here we are. We got Jason from Canadian Reptile Adventures. Super stoked to have him here. You guys are definitely in for a treat. My boy's been doing it for a long time, and there's gonna be lots of gems dropped. Jay,
buddy, how are you?
Doing great, brother. Thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love who you are, bro, and I like what you do, bro. So I was like, definitely got to get Jay on the show.
Sure.
I know you had to kind of like rearrange your schedule a little bit.
A little bit of juggling involved, yeah. Such is life,
man.
Right?
Exactly, yeah. But I just want to be, grateful, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. I have a kind of a weird time slot right here at 5 p.m. on Fridays.
I can see that the advantages and disadvantages. I was thinking about it early, and I was kind of like, fuck, because we used to do it at 8, and obviously I'm preferential to that because that's my lifestyle and that's how that works. But it's again like that's all part of business, right? It doesn't matter what's convenient to you. It matters what's convenient to your chosen niche market. And obviously, if you want to be successful, then you have to appeal to your niche market.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like a happy hour, Everybody's getting off of work on Fridays. It's happy hour. I know the West Coast is not out of work yet, but unfortunately, this is the best time for me. And it kind of gives me like the opportunity to promote my brother, Keys, on Hair Down Fridays, because right after this, we take a little small intermission and we jump over there, show animals and hang out. So it's a nice little talk business now, and then we go over there and chill. just a little bit.
It's a smart way to do things. Keeps
Yeah,
that feed going, right? One business feeding the other.
yeah, exactly, man. And that's the thing, man. Is like, and I always say it: learn together, grow together, succeed together, right? And
Surround
when you
yourself with
work
that
as,
type of people.
yeah, you are who you hang out with. So like, it was important for me to do what I can to help him, and he does what he can to help me, and that's how we grow, man. It's beautiful. There's no need to be cutthroat. You know what I mean?
No, it helps your algorithm too, right? Because social media looks at things like that, like how many accounts are you interacting with? And like for Instagram, for instance, if you're proactive in your stories and you're interacting, you're tagging people and they're tagging you back, and you're interacting, you're adding little things, and there's conversations. Instagram's going to push you that much more. Pardon me, because of this, right? They see that algorithm going back and forth. So the more you're doing these little promos, the more it's going to help you in the long run as far as getting recognition and being seen in feeds and things like that. So let's face
Yeah,
it, any little thing we can do, right?
yeah, 100%, man. I actually heard something. Will from Flawless shared something with me where he was like, try not to say YouTube too much on Instagram because technically they are competitors,
Right?
right? So they're not
Think they're
gonna
not listening.
say again.
I said, and if you think they're not listening,
Oh, they're definitely listen. They give you options to put YouTube stuff on your reels. It's why would they do that, right?
right?
Probably to see if you're gonna try to promote another business or their competitors. So I'm not saying they're gonna shadow ban you, but they're probably not gonna push you as hard as they would if you weren't doing that, right? So I've been testing
I
that
take a
theory for
chance.
yeah, yeah. Why take a chance? Exactly. So I've been testing the theory recently for like maybe the past week or so, maybe a little bit before that, or a little longer than that, and. I guess there's a time frame like of getting unshadow banned. So I'm just going to keep that going for the next month or two and see if there is a significant difference. If there is, then we keep it rocking. If there's not, then maybe it's
I
not.
have I have spoken with friends. Obviously, I'm not going to name any names or accounts, but significant account size within 5 digits, and they notice a dramatic difference both in the characters that they're interacting with, as well as what they're saying, what they're promoting, whether they're behaving, and that's what it comes down to. And to the tune of 500-600% allegedly from people that I trust and that are that I'm speaking with as friends, that I've been speaking with on personal levels about you know family and things like that for well over 3 years. So I trust them, and they have no reason to lie to me because they're not working in the same reptiles as I am. They're doing something totally different.
Right. Yeah.
But
And it's
the
just about
information that
acknowledging.
they're conveying conveys with what I've heard from other people. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, we think they're not paying attention, but they really
well,
are.
they're paying
So.
attention. If you think they're not, you're not paying attention, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly,
the
man.
truth of it. So
So listen, man. Enough about social media, man. Let's get to the man of the hour, bro. Let's for the people that do not know who you are, can you introduce yourself? Speak about what your main species that you're working with, your business name, where you're located. All the goods.
my name's Jason. I founded Canadian Reptile Adventures in, I guess, 2012, 2013. The business started as a traveling reptile show, but the whole thing rolls back even further to that. I mean, probably like every kid, I had an interest in dinosaurs, and then growing up, I wasn't really supposed to have pets in the house, so to speak. Like we had dogs and cats, but that was that's it.
Yeah.
So I think that led to my obsession with pets and reptiles, etc. And I mean, we can convey how this works into different aspects of life. People that are refrain from having things tend to go overboard with it when they're allowed to have them. But got into reptiles because a friend had a bearded dragon, and I thought it was just the coolest fucking thing that they could take this reptile out, which I had always like lizards, reptiles. They run, they're freakish, they're gonna bite you, like stay away kind of thing. And this thing just kind of sat there and chilled and looked at me while I was eating a bag of chips. So I thought that was kind of cool. And obviously something clicked that night because it was less than a year later. I went out and I bought my own bearded dragon, and then I've always been fascinated by biology and science and stuff like that. So it wasn't too long after getting it that I ended up getting a couple more as babies, and I raised them up, and then the wheels started turning about whether I could breed them, and Next thing I know, I've got, 15 bearded dragons, and I'm breeding them, and friends are coming over, and then I'm expanding into different animals, and then I've got, a tortoise and a tegu, and I've got savanna monitors, and I've got geckos, and I've got different breeding colonies of insects and different species of worms and this and that, and like everything's kind of its own little biosphere, but I have no fucking life, right? So um, slowly kind of got out of, well, then I ended up getting into reptile shows because everybody that ever came over, it ends up being show and tell, right? And as you can imagine, it starts with this and that, and I like to talk, that. So
Yep.
we're talking about different animals for time and time, and friends are like, why aren't you doing this for a living? Why aren't you doing birthday parties or, sharing your knowledge with people? So things eventually evolved, and I ended up, doing some research into what was required in my area and marketplace at the time for traveling reptile shows, which is very, very different nowadays.
Hmm.
And so I got into that, and I kind of came up with my plans, and I came up with my price packages and how I was going to get the word out there. And then it was just kind of to a point, like a fake it till you make it. And got in with the first show, and then things went from there. And I've always been blessed with the ability to talk and improvise and get over my fear of talking in front of people. I don't like talking in front of people. I don't like doing lives. I'm a very shy, quiet person. I generally keep myself. If you see me at an expo, I'm probably not going to say anything, not because I'm just shy. I'm very quiet. I'm very reserved. I'm more of an introvert than anything. My friends drag me out more often than not. So if you see me, come say hi. It's nothing personal. I'm just a quiet person. Anyways, that being said, when I have to talk business, it's just like a switch turns off, and I can talk and talk and talk and talk because it's the subject I'm comfortable with. It's a subject I know a lot about, and I'm confident once I know what I'm talking about. So anyways, birthday parties were very natural for me. It wasn't hard for me to talk to strangers about animals. I've always worked in customer service on my other jobs. I've done
Okay, yeah, that was going to be a question of mine. Like, what did you do prior to the animals?
So
For
I
work?
still work. I did take about a year off. I was working just reptiles, and I'm now back working two jobs again. And it sounds crazy, but I think I like working two jobs better.
Really?
Yeah, I do better under pressure. I've always done better under pressure. I've always
What
been that kid.
industry? What industry is it?
Uh, what do I like? I guess my home industry, I'd say, is the pool industry. Like
Oh,
that's what I know as well as I know reptiles. Like,
mhm.
you know what I mean? I just when it comes to pools, there's not too fucking much I haven't done. Commercial, residential, builds, you name it. Yeah, man, been there, done
That's
it,
cool,
every
man. I
single
love that
place.
shit.
It's nice because it's a great paying job. It's a great industry. It gives me real hours in the summer. I get to be outside. I enjoy being outside. Obviously, I believe being out in nature for an hour a day makes a world of difference in your overall demeanor. If you guys don't do that, at least get a half an hour outside every day. Take your lunch outside. Go sit by a tree or by a river or just something. Be outside
Yeah,
for half an
100%.
hour. Makes a world of difference
100%.
for your overall demeanor. Um, and fuck, Ray, where was I going with this?
Oh, I was just asking you what industry you were in prior to getting into the reptiles.
Primarily pools, but I've done a bit of everything. A lot of it is customer service. If you really want to look at it, that is what the majority of my life career has been about, is customer service.
Yeah, me too, man.
So,
Sales and all kinds of things, man. I was even in collections, and honestly, that was an eye opener for me when it came to customer service because you got people that don't want to pay or don't have the money to pay, and trying to talk somebody down that's angry is
mm-hmm,
very difficult, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, and then kind of getting them to not only calm down, but to then figure out some kind of way for them to benefit themselves by getting themselves out of debt and doing all these different things. It was definitely a challenge, and what a great experience it was. Definitely hell for the majority of the part, but a great experience for me. To help me with understanding people as my journey continued, right? Um, so you talked about basically getting a price guide and all this other stuff for doing shows. What was it like marketing or trying to find people to do, whether it be birthdays or classrooms or whatever it is? Like, how did that look at the beginning of that for you?
I got the majority of my business started two places. The first one was during the Reptile Expos. I was also, by the time I had decided to do the Reptile Expo to promote myself, I had already hatched a couple clutches of captive bred Savannah monitors. So I had something that not very many people had at the time to put on the table and bring people in. What's going on, Terrence? And that helped a lot because that brought people over to a table, which otherwise, who the fuck am I? Like, you know what I mean? It was so Mickey Mouse at the time, but it got us talking, and that's all I need. I just need you to talk to me, and then I can turn on charm, and then I can find out what you're looking for and how I can help you, and how I can cater my service to your
Needs.
desires as well as your perceived value, because that's what business is all about. It's about finding your client's perceived value, and knowing what your client's perceived value at also allows you to make sure that you're maximizing your profits and your services, while at the same time that enables you to give the best service possible. Because let's face it, if you're constantly cutting your bottom dollar, if you're constantly burning your candle at both ends, if you're constantly giving shit away, you're not making money. And if you're not making money, how are you going to feed your snakes? How are you going to buy your rats? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to do all this? And more importantly, how are you going to feed your family? How is this going to be fun? This is going to become a stress. This is going to become something of anger, or something you don't want to be around anymore. So, you know, these things are all relevant.
Yeah, there's a fine balance, right? A fine line to walk.
100%. So, but speaking of fine line and balance, that comes back to now, honestly, I mean, don't tell the guys I work with, but I think I like working the full-time job for somebody else and then having my own job. Now I'm blessed and I have a great place where I work. They understand, they accommodate me. It's a give and take, you know, just like with customers, it's the same thing. If you have employees, you have to understand where your employees are coming from, and you have to understand what makes the job good for them. Otherwise, why don't they just go work for somebody else? Like, money is money is money. But find a place that will accommodate you and take care of you and allow you the freedom to do what you need to do is a completely different thing. Now, in terms of pressure, it limits the amount of time I have in a day. I still have to go and put in 8 to 12 hours for the man, right? And that means that I only have, you know, what, 12 to 16 hours left to myself, depending on how the day went.
Listen, you got to sleep, you got to eat, you got to shower, you got to, you know, you got a lot of things you got to do. So managing your time is definitely.
Just get supplies. That can be 2 hours, right? Yep. Then decide what you're going to eat. Okay, there's an hour. Have a shower, get ready for bed or whatever. There's another hour. Fuck, we just chewed up 4 hours. We haven't even touched animals.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm not, you guys know me, I'm not running, you know, 10 animals or 30 animals like at any given time, not to brag, but if you've been breeding for a while, you know what I'm talking about. You don't know how many you have because the number's always changing. And once you're over like 100 or something, man, it's just like, I don't know how many racks you got, you know, and that's what it comes down to. You start counting racks in your head. I got 30, I got another 30, I got another 30, then I got a 20 stack, and then there's another single stack, and then, okay, so that, oh, but wait, that bottom bin has nothing, you know, and you're visualizing it ahead, but you're like, at any given time, what do you mean?
All right, well, listen, we're going to get into that. I want to know how many you got later. We could do rough estimates. No, we don't have to do it right now. But okay, so you started meeting people at the shows. That's kind of how you built your base to do private shows. You had an array of animals that you could present to people and educate them on, which is super dope. Are you still doing that to date? What year did you start that?
The shows really started kicking off in 2013. And I got into the shows because I was, like I said, able to meet people at the expos. That opened up a branch into the school board. I was able to meet a principal, a woman by the name of Marge, and Marge was amazing and helped us get into the school board. And that, you know, again, once you can do one, then you can say you've done it. And in fact, Marge and the school board, that was actually our first, or I say my first check as a business. And I still have that check framed, and you know, and that reminds me every day, like 10 years ago. It was only $600 check, but again, it was the first fucking check with the business's name on it. That was like, holy fuck, you know, shit's going down.
Yeah, it's a milestone,
I scanned it, photocopied it, I kept it. I even get a little teary-eyed talking about it because you start thinking about how long it's been and what it's all been about, and how many times you almost quit, and how many times you almost gave up, and how many people didn't think you could do it. and how close some of those people are to you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That's real life.
right? The other thing that got a real foot in the door and I think really kicked it off was there was a festival in my area, which I predominantly lived in Mississauga my whole life, and it's called the Bread and Honey Festival, and it's got upwards of 60 to 80,000 people running through there over the course of a weekend. And we were, I always say we. The business was the only entity that had reptiles, and they loved that concept, and it was very well received by the crowds. We had a couple snakes. A bunch of my friends came and helped me volunteer, and we had the animals up on, like, you know, in display in a 10 by 10 tent, fans, etc., going, heat, cooling, and then we had a couple ball pythons for people to see and come over and, you know, interact with, and that ended up getting the whole wheel spinning in terms of meeting more people. A lot of birthday parties came from that, and then it's always been word of mouth with me. I've never done too much focus on paying for advertising, other than like the website or MorphMarket. Other than that, it's all word of mouth, and I found that is always the best.
Yeah. And that's a testament to how amazing you are, because word of mouth, like, you got to be good and people have to like you in order for them to share what they experienced with you.
That up. Yeah, it's it definitely keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Lets people know, like, hey, look, man, like, I'm gonna advise other people to go to you because you do such a great job. So salute to you, big dog. You know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That I gotta admit, that comes from, I worked as a funeral director for a few years, and you talk about like collecting, the same thing. You got to learn to smile with a mouthful of shit. So that really helped, teaching me humility, understanding, just how finite life is, how important today is, you know, not putting things off till tomorrow. But a lot of it taught me customer service and just how to be empathetic towards your customer and think about what they're going through and how they're going to perceive this. And again, like, how they perceive it is then how, that's reality. That's their reality. You can only see the world through your own eyes, right? So there are people out there who are more in tune with other people, but at the end of the day, how you treat a customer, that is reality to them. So, you know, it doesn't matter how you see it.
I love that you said the word empathy. I often talk about it. You know, there's more than just animals. There's people behind the animals, and you got to care about the people behind the animals, because without them, the animals wouldn't be there, right? Yep. So, you know, you got people running amok out here, just disrespecting everybody, not realizing that, hey, man, you got real people with real issues. It's not just, you know, some dudes sitting there waiting for you to call them to buy a snake. It's, you know, people have families, people have kids, people have addictions, people have depression, all kinds of stuff, man. And you got to be a little mindful and have some empathy for everybody, you know, just makes the world spin better.
That's for sure. So not long after the shows, I told you I was breeding the Savannah monitors, and I have enough affinity for monitors. I've always loved monitors. Those of you who know me know I love black throat monitors, white throat monitors. I have a white throat. I used to have a black throat. But the long and the short of it is, monitors are very space consuming. And my hat goes off to every successful monitor breeder out there. Because, I mean, ball python breeding and reptile breeding and everything, it's no joke. But, I mean, you want to talk about upping your levels, go breed monitors. Like, bro, incubation, what's our incubation? 60 days, you know, 55?
Yeah.
Man, the Savannah monitors, that were incubating for 6 to 8 months. Like,
Jesus Christ, I didn't know that.
Man, some of them incubate for a long fucking time, and like a lot can go wrong in that time period. Just the same as like a lot can go wrong, you know, in a 3-month period. So yeah, it's challenging. So my hat goes off to you. Then once you have these babies, they grow really fucking fast. And they take up a lot of space, and they eat a lot of food, and they're not like ball pythons that can be fed once every few days. Like, oh, babies, oh, we gotta feed them like every 4 or 5 days right now. Man, you're talking 3 times a day with baby monitors, because their fat reserves are so small, and they burn off that fat reserves. It's like baby dragons, bearded dragons, same thing. You got to be feeding them those crickets like 3 times a day. Now, go to work, do your job, come back home at lunch, feed them crickets, go back to work, come back home. Like, you know, I was living that lifestyle, and I was like, And you can only sell a Savannah monitor for so much. And I mean, I was selling them for $1.25 plus tax, and I was like, fucking right, you know. These animals, I'm like, now granted, they were captive bred. I could prove it all, and that was a big deal. But it was still only $125, and we're talking about something where I had to literally show customers video proof of these animals breeding. Here's mom as a baby. Here's dad as a baby. Here's them growing up. Here's me with them growing up. Here's me pairing them. Here's video of them copulating. Here's the eggs. Here's me pulling the eggs. Here's the eggs hatching. Like, fuck you. These did not come from Africa.
Holy shit.
Can I please have $125? You know?
Hey, let me ask you a question. How long, or have you ever gauged like how much it costs you to from egg to big enough size to sell? I'm not sure how big they have to be for you to sell. Like, you know, ball pythons, typically you want it to be over 100 grams. Is it similar for that, or like what's the ratio there? Do you know?
I didn't really find a ratio. I mean, what I can tell you is when I bought my very first Savannah monitor, she weighed 8 grams when I got her home. When I hatched my first Savannah monitors, the runt of the litter weighed 14 grams. The biggest one weighed 24 grams.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I typically didn't like selling them until they were, you know, feeding comfortably on their own. I was more concerned with a good family, a good setup for them, because exactly like Craft Brewery John just mentioned, they're super cheap, like $30. So people don't have any respect for animals that cheap. I'm like, fuck, whatever, I don't care. You know, so a lot of it, and that was one of the draws why I was like, you know what, I don't give a shit. I'm going to charge you $1.25, because if you're going to pay $1.25, you're going to think twice. And at least you're going to put some effort into this, you know?
Yeah, it's not like getting a goldfish from a fair or something like that where people don't
but
give a
you
shit.
know what? Even the best laid people, the best intentions, the ones that have all the heart and soul in it, they still make mistakes. There was a young guy that came out, his mom, 100%, I back these guys to this day. I back these guys. They bought a Savannah monitor off me, asked all the right questions, had all the setup taken care of. The kid knew his stuff. They were talking 14 years old. I was impressed with him at the time.
Yeah.
And they bought it. What's going on, brother? I see you up there in the crane. They bought it. They brought it home, and everything was going great. And 2 months later, the mom messaged me, brokenhearted, and the animal had died. And not the way that most people think about, but in a way that I've learned to warn other people about. Savannah monitors like to dig, and people like to put all sorts of stuff inside these tanks, and they set them up. One of the things people don't think about is when you're putting in big stones and flagstones and things like that, you need to make sure it's at the very bottom of the tank. There can't be dirt under that, because they will dig it out, and they will dig it out, and they will dig it out. And
they crush themselves.
They're not clever miners. They don't know to put up supports. And the long and the short of it is this poor little guy went under there, and he dug and he dug and he dug, and he dug his own grave because the rock came down and crushed him. And,
fuck, man.
You know, people don't think about this kind of thing. And so anyways, long and short, it was the kid's fault. No, yeah, it sucked. He was heartbroken, but I had no problem giving him another one free of charge, because again, I know that, you know, he's not taking care of it.
It was just something he didn't know.
And most people don't fucking know that. Like, let's be honest. There's, you know, unfortunately, like we used to say on the Keeper's Corner all the time, the reason I know these things is not because I'm some genius that sat around and, you know, had these epiphanies. It's because I done fucked up time and time and time again. I've lived the hard way. And that's why I like doing the shows when I do them, to the point, because I can share these experiences with you. And hopefully somebody out there will hear this and be like, oh yeah, flagstone all the way to the bottom of the glass. Don't put any dirt under there. Make sure it's stable, because it will collapse. These animals will dig out. They don't know any better.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this.
Hot glue gun it down, whatever. Make sure it's not going anywhere.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to start this show, man, was because a lot of people are afraid to ask questions, and there's a lot of information out there that could be beneficial to them to help them succeed or build confidence to move forward. And if they don't have that relationship with somebody where they can ask them who's experienced, they're just kind of floating in the wind, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I definitely wanted to bring something that anybody could come and learn stuff from. So yeah, it's amazing. And, you know, I hope that we're doing justice to the industry as well as the individual, you know, because that's
certainly
that's
a lot different than when I started, that's for sure. Man, there was no information sharing. It was like, you're on your own, fucker.
Yeah, exactly. And cutthroat.
Yeah.
So just real quick, man, are you still doing the shows to date? Or did you stop doing that at some point?
I haven't done a reptile expo in a long time.
Not really
Unfortunately.
the expo, but like the educational shows where you're like going to like do stuff
Birthday
like
parties. If a friend calls me up, and catches me on the right day with the moon and the right hemisphere, maybe.
that. When the stars
It's a
align, yeah.
lot of fucking work, man. It's usually what you don't like for a reptile show. You'll see maybe an hour. What you don't see is the 2 to 3 hour ahead and behind. The packing up, the prepping, the cleaning, the tegu that takes a fucking shit on your white shirt as you're about to go out the door, the tortoise that decides to take a shit in its pen after it's been sitting there for 20, um, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So inevitably, and again, you want to make sure the animals are clean. And like, I like to keep the tortoise, the tegu, etc. I like to keep them on dirt and soil and a mixture of things. So they're dirty, they're not show quality. So you want to give them a bath. You want to make sure, they look nice and everything's okay. And it's a good opportunity to give them a once over, check the vents, check this, the other things other than when you're feeding them. So
Yeah, it's not just throw them in a bag and drive over to the place.
Now, how much are you charging for a birthday party, man? Because
Exactly.
we, at best, I think the full package, I think maybe would be $275 at times. And then we throw in mileage depending on what was involved, because sometimes I'd be traveling an hour, so that's 2 hours of driving. That's easily 250 kilometers. Now, I'm not telling anybody about the price of gas right now, so it all adds up. Next thing you know, you're like, fuck, like, oh wow, I have $150 profit for this 5 hours of work. And now I gotta go buy supplies and everything else. And if you have a monitor or a tortoise or an iguana or any other animal like that, they're basically a giant eating machine, and they can just smash food all day. So while that's not healthy for them, my point is $150 doesn't go very far.
And
So
and the thing is, like, how many like what's the most like what's the most like shows like the educational shows that you could do in a week? Like, how many have you done in maybe a week?
I mean, usually a good weekend you might do 3. And
Typically
again,
on the weekends,
I'm not
right?
in a good mood by the time I'm done 3 shows.
Yeah.
I'm a quiet person. I keep to myself. I like helping people, but I don't like people. Like in general, like, I know that sounds sketchy, but again,
man,
I've seen a lot of shitty stuff, both from
that
working as a
sounds.
funeral director and some of the industries. I've seen the underbelly of society in a lot of ways. And
Listen, man, you are preaching to the choir, dude. Like, people think I'm extrovert, right? Because I could come on here and I could do this, and I see people, and I'm talking and this and that, and it's all great, and I love it. I love talking to people. I love explaining things to people. I purposely fill my brain with things that I think will be beneficial to people. So when I talk to them, it's a purposeful conversation, not some bullshit. But what people don't see is that I get drained quick. And you might see me here popping off with everybody in a social gathering, and you'll look around and be like, "Where's Ray?" And I'll just get up and leave because I've reached my limit of my energy is exhausted, and I got to go home and recharge because if not, I start getting cranky. Right? Does that make sense?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So you had a lot of species, man. Are you still working with the same amount of species? Do you have a lot of species currently?
What I have done, like some of those animals, like my tegu's got to be going on fucking almost 20 years old now. I mean, I don't like saying numbers without sitting down and doing hard math, but I've had that tegu, my red tegu Sunshine, for, well, I think longer than anybody else now. So what I basically did is said, look, I'm not doing shows anymore, but I have a hard time. They're my pets. They're, like, if somebody came to me and was like, I have a tortoise sanctuary, and, your tortoise will live the rest of its life, all 100 and whatever case may be, here with other tortoises perfectly happy. You know what, man? Fucking A. Take her, because that's a better life than I can ever give her. Shy of becoming a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like a redfoot tortoise, that's 75 years. I've had her 15, so wow, 60 more to go. I don't think,
Exactly.
fuck, man. I'm not going to make it 16 more years. So maybe, I don't know. I hope so, but maybe I won't hope so by the time I'm there. That's a long fucking time.
Yeah, well, we'll see what God has in store.
right? Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is, I'm a grown-ass man, and I still can't comprehend what's involved with keeping a tortoise that long. And I've been doing professional reptiles, filing taxes, doing this, making money, making a living off reptiles for a long time now. So I always kind of raise an eyebrow when someone gets a tortoise or when a kid gets a tortoise, etc. And I'm no better. Like, who the fuck am I to judge? I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, guilty. But I still think, fuck, man, if I could find a perfect place for my tortoise, would I? Yes. If I could find a perfect place for my tegu to live out the rest of her days with other tegus, if I could send her out to like Barnyard or somewhere out in the States and know that she wouldn't get caught up in some dirty ban or something like that, or get shot or something by some fucking asshole.
Yeah.
100%. But until that day, all I can do is give her the best life I can and hope that somebody comes along and
so right now you got the tegu, you got
a white throat monitor named Penelope. I have a red Argentine tegu named Sunshine. I have a redfoot tortoise, Princess Sparkles. I have a boa constrictor, Cupcake. I have 2 dogs, 2 cats. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta fucking, like, no, yeah, like.
Yeah, got rid of that, got this still, got this. So, let me, and you obviously.
2 tarantulas.
Cool, man. You get down with spiders. That's what's up.
I didn't have a choice. It was, do you have a spider? Do you have a snake? I never liked snakes. When I was a kid, I liked snakes. Then I was taught not to like snakes by society, and I didn't like snakes. My dad, ironically enough, does not. He's terrified of snakes. Like, my dad is the toughest motherfucker I know. Like, hands down.
Scream if you throw a snake on him.
He's been through some shit. He can tell you some shit. He's one of those demands respect. Like, respect is earned. And my grandfather was military before that, and his father bailed on the family one day when my grandfather was 16. Like, I'm going to buy smokes. Never came back. Started another family in the U.S. So, like, hard life, diluted down to dad, tough life, diluted down to me. I'm great life, like, not complaining or anything like that. But, this is this hard-ass man, and I tell you what, if I threw a snake shed at him, he'd fucking scream like a bitch and run. I have seen him, and I love him to death, but I have seen him run away from garter snakes before, like, hands up in the air, like, is that my fucking father? Did I just see that shit? And it's funny to me because he was always that one that tried to motivate me, like, what's gonna light a fire under your ass? What's gonna get you to do something? Like, fuck.
Yeah. So when you told him snakes, right?
Fuck me, seriously, man, like,
Yeah, that's.
But he's a big supporter. He likes hearing about the business. He likes hearing about my business strategies. He likes hearing about what's going well and stuff. He's come to the shop. He's looked around, and that's a lot, man. That's asking somebody to sit in a room with like 100 plus of his demons, And,
yeah.
So I respect that, and I don't push that.
So are you only breeding ball pythons now?
That is all I breed anymore. I slowly moved away because of cost and effectiveness. And I quickly realized, like I said, we were talking about the $1.25. I realized that, like, man, $1.25 for the reptiles and the overhead and everything else, and then I gotta feed them so often. Yeah, you're right. They fucking stink like hell. Crickets and like I was breeding all my own insects. I was breeding silkworms. I was breeding or not breeding silkworms, cultivating silkworms, cultivating tomato hornworms, cultivating crickets. Cultivating superworms, the little guys, oh man, really, Jay? I want to say millipedes, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The smaller ones than the superworms. Mealworms, wow.
Mealworms, yes, holy shit.
And basically any kind of worm that I could get my hands on, like night crawlers, everything. Because again, it's good for the monitors. It's good for all the, inevitably all those insects ate together. Fuck, man. It's expensive. It's time consuming. And like, I was selling them here and there, and I was bringing in a couple $100 a month from insect sales. And that was great when everything was rolling in perfect harmony, and everybody was buying and everybody was producing. And then what happens when something goes wrong or somebody gets out? You know what I mean? we used to say it on the Keeper's Corner all the time. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is a game of avoiding problems. Who can
Avoiding
last
problems. I
longest,
like that. Yeah.
right? Like, this is all it is dealing with bullshit all day long. Holy fuck, what's next? You get
Yeah.
up in
So at the
morning,
end of the day, you had to evaluate the value of your time, right, and the energy that you're putting into it, and it just wasn't making sense with those specific species and the insects and all that stuff. So you switched to ball pythons. I know you said you had some when you were doing the shows and stuff like that, but when did you really like decide, like, when was the thought process, or what was the thought process behind, you know what, ball pythons is the way, I'm gonna pull the trigger and go hard on this?
um, probably the second season. I was like, okay,
Okay.
yeah, I can. First season it was kind of like a bit of a fluke clutch. I knew what I knew that I wanted to produce them. I was producing them, but I was missing all the signs. And I pulled out the bin and bam, clutch of eggs. And I was like, oh fuck.
What year was that? Was that 13?
2012, 2013. Like I said,
Okay.
I was doing the shows first, and I was selling the Savannah monitors first,
Hmm.
and then it was like, okay, well, people wanted snakes. People wanted spiders, so I got a ball python, and my dumbass went and got like this little baby ball python that pets my. And I
Look at my
remember,
normal.
right? I remember sitting at home that night and smoking a joint and just being like, "You stupid fuck! What did you do? Who wants to see this little baby? Like, you dumb idiot! You're missing the point." And in my head, to my credit, I was like, "I'm gonna get a snake that I'm gonna raise it up, and it's gonna know me, and it's gonna know, and I'm not gonna have to worry about it hurting anybody, and this and that." And what it really comes down to is it's a fucking ball python, man. Like,
Yeah,
your
not too
ball
aggressive
python.
there.
Some of them have better temperaments than other, and yeah, there's ones that I'll open up the bin and but for the most part, you can open them up and put them on your head, and nothing's gonna happen. So, kind of realized, all right, the second season, produce more, was able to sell some, was able to make a couple $100 off a couple of them, and got a little lucky with my genes. I was always fortunate. Mark Mandick of Marcus Jane Reptiles was always available to me to speak to, and
That's huge, man.
I was very fortunate. He doesn't live too far away from me, and if you're in Canada and you're in the Ontario area, he's very friendly. Reach out to him, etc. I went there, he gave me a tour, talked to me about a bunch of different stuff. Super nice guy, super humble, and fuck, man, what a collection.
Yeah, shout out to
Anyways,
Mark.
we spoke for a little bit, and like he had no reason to spend the time to talk to me. But anyways, the long and the short of it is, he changed my mindset. I was gonna get an albino, and then a big albino.
Okay, yeah, that was gonna be my next question. What were some projects? Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Was what were some combos that really caught your eye at the beginning of your ball python adventure?
Pies, clowns, and albinos. There were still $1,500, $1,600 for clowns. Bells were a big one with me. They were still easily $1,200, $1,300, depending on where and the price tags and females versus males. And I talked to Mark, and I was gonna do albinos, and he was like, "Look, man, like are you buying 2 albinos?" And I was like, "No, I got $200,
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, well, like here, like I will sell you an albino. I'm not gonna. That's what you want. I'll sell you an albino." Remember what I talked about knowing your market and giving them what they want, but helping them at the same time.
Right.
And he was like, "But like, you should come by my shop, and you should come when you're ready to invest a couple $100, more than 200, and I'll talk to you about some different ideas, depending on how much money you come with, etc. No pressure, nothing like that." So I showed up with like $400, and man, at the time, $400 was, like, fuck, what am I doing here? I'm not
Yeah.
breeder.
I'm about to drop 400 on
I don't know
a
what
snake.
the fuck I'm doing. I think I do, but I don't. I had like 10 female snakes that I'd gotten here and there on good deals and stuff. Anyways, went there, spoke with him, and he talked to me about codoms and the benefits to codom. So he set me up with a butter pastel and explained the palette to me, and that made sense to me at the time. And there was still enough of a market on the codoms that we were talking about at the time that I more than made my money back on that original male over the next 3 seasons, many times over. And in fact, they then ended up, the babies were paying for the mothers and the fathers, and they were paying for the food bills. So it wasn't too long after I had 5 or 6 that I was like, okay, I'm I'm gonna start looking into breeding rats. So I went out and I found a pregnant rat at PetSmart, and I brought her home, and I started that project. So into the aquarium she went, and started interacting with her and named her. And anyways, I still miss that fucking rat to this day.
So you had about a dozen. So you had about a dozen snakes, and then you decided, hey, I'm gonna jump into the breeding of rodents so that it's more cost effective to feed them.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, this seems irrelevant to me, but yes, it's very relevant. It's just I don't even think about including that part anymore. But my mind has always worked like that. I'm always, what are my costs? What are my analysis? Where am I making my money? Like, I was terrible at math. Horrible. Failed grade 10 math, 14%. Had to go to summer school. And then grade 11, I killed it. And you know what the difference is between grade 10 and grade 11? I started smoking weed, and I started seeing the entrepreneurial side of it. And so I started doing math, numbers, this much, conversions. And now it comes second nature to me. And so I'm always thinking about numbers. I'm always thinking about math to the point where I don't even think to talk about it.
It's interesting how that works, right? Something you weren't that
You're
into.
You're never gonna amount to anything, man. I wish I could run into that old math teacher now. He used to bust me all the time for smoking pot in class. I'm like, would you believe?
Yeah, I'm a successful entrepreneur. I do lots of math every day.
All because of this. And, I did learn the subject from you, believe it or not. But anyways, so it just became a cost analysis. Being like, fuck, man, you feed them this once a week. The food is depending on how you're like. If you got a good successful rat operation going, 25 cents a rat, from birth to say wean, small.
Right.
I mean, now maybe not so much now. The costs have just gone up about 30% across the board. I don't know where they're at over there, but
dude,
like a bag of rat food 3 years ago for me would have been $19 for a 20 kg. Now it's $27, $28 for an 18 kg, and they call it value. Never mind the cost of fucking bedding that's gone just ridiculous. The cost of Aspen, for instance.
I think so. Right now, I'm doing the pine pellets and the pine shavings, and it's about $7 per bag, and then the food is about $27 per bag. It's a 50-pound bag. I'm not sure what that is in kg. Because
50 pounds.
Yeah.
50 pound bag. I think it's like 20, 22.
20. Okay, so roughly kind of similar to what you were getting. And like selling a weaned rat is like $2.50. A small is like $3, something like that. Are you similar prices up there, or what's that looking like?
Well, I guess if you're selling them for $2, let's make the math easy because I think there's a 30-cent difference. I think it's like 78 cents on the dollar right now. So like weans, I think you gotta stop and think because most of my clients are all package deals. I want to say like $3.50 for wean, something I charge, depending on But I have no fucking. I'm like, my thing is like, these are my prices. I will use every one of my rats, and then still go out and buy more rats. And we've talked about that. Make sure you have a rat dealer. Make sure you have your multiple rat dealers because you never know, right?
Yep.
But so I have no problems with if somebody wants to go buy rats from somewhere else. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. So
Did you have business experience prior to starting Canadian Reptile Adventures, or did you have a mentor in business that was guiding you, or did you just wing it and figure it all out on your own?
The business aspect, like I said, really the financial aspect was weed. That's where I learned, the ropes, so to speak, was high school and navigating all of that. So I guess I was pretty good at it because I never had any problems. But
yeah. So you wung it on your own in a different field, and then you
learned
implemented
the business,
what you learned.
What was involved, and then I was blessed with doing customer service at the funeral home and other organizations where I had to learn the more etiquette side. I had to refine and polish my skill set, so to speak.
Gotcha.
And I had to learn how to present myself.
A lot of it was trial and error then. You didn't really have somebody saying, hey, this is how you start a business.
Like I said before, there was no point where I had an epiphany or anything. It was just falling on my ass again and again and again and again and getting back up and, oh, I killed all the rats, or, the power went out and the barn went up to like 95 degrees and we lost everything from the 3 foot up because of the heat, or, how do we recover from this, or the AC failed, or how do I know the AC doesn't fail when I'm an hour away? How do I know the temperatures are running? How do I know nothing? Anything that you can think of that could go wrong has gone wrong. Yes.
And these are actually things that you have to think about. Like, if you don't know about these things, you're going to find out the hard way when it happens. And if you have the opportunity, like right now, everybody watching, they're listening to you say all these things, and it's putting ideas in their head, and that's information that they're going to be able to utilize. So super awesome,
I
man.
hope so, man. I mean, you want to talk about a heartbreak story? I'll give you a fucking heartbreak story here.
All right, not too deep, man.
rewind.
I don't want to cry.
I'm gonna say 5 years ago. I was working with a guy. We had a partnership going on, and he brought over a ultra clown. This is 5 years ago. Okay, so he had this ultra clown, and it was a male. It was still too small to breed, etc. But like, oh fuck me,
Yeah.
And we were working together, and he came over and he was running late. And and because I was departing for the weekend, and it was okay. You go upstairs, you check on this, this, and this. I'll go downstairs. I'll check on this, this, and this. We'll meet in the middle. We'll confirm and we'll go. So said was done, and great, we're good. Out the door. Come back 3 days later. Check shop upstairs, downstairs. Check hatchlings, open up the room for hatchlings, and the heat is just like, holy fuck. You feel it the second you walk in. When that hatchling bin got slid back in, Buddy was not familiar with my system. And you know where this is going. That knocked that probe loose. And those temps went, and everything in those racks. Like, I lost 5-6 grand. He lost 5-6 grand just on that animal, never mind the other, and that was a hard fucking lesson, man.
Yeah, man, that's fucking tough, dude. When was it every animal in the rack, in that specific rack, was gone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was about 20 of them that fried.
Fuck. Adults and everything, or was that a hatchling rack?
It was a hatchling rack. But not that, I mean, I guess it's better than an adult rack. I mean, yes, if we're going to put monetary value on things, and if we're looking at it in a business point of view, losing your babies is definitely better than losing your breeders.
Yes.
There's no thought about that.
Yeah. But you don't want to lose anything. So you
no,
want
of
to
course
take,
not. But there is, like, for instance, there can be silver linings. So the rat colony took a hard hit not too long ago. Air conditioner failed. It happens. If you're breeding rats and you're running AC, the ammonia in the room, the way the air conditioners work, running that high ammonia concentrate through that, it deteriorates seals, it deteriorates pipes, it especially copper. So if you're going to run an AC system, plan on going through an AC unit once a year. And I tried to squeeze by on like the little single room, 150K BTU, stick it into the fucking wall kind of thing, like can do a 20 by 20 room.
Mm-hmm.
And I fried 2 of them in less than 30 days.
Wow.
The room that I run my rats in is only 160 square feet. So it's like 16 by 10.
Right.
Like racks. But yeah, it's great airflow. I can go in there without a mask when the AC is kicking, and I love it, but it chews through those pipes. So case in point, pipe cracked, blew out all the Freon. No Freon, no AC. I didn't fucking know. I wasn't. Normally I'm checking my cameras, I'm checking my alerts, etc. And for whatever reason, I didn't get my alert. I didn't check, and I went checked the barn, and 96 degrees. So everything bottom down is fine. Bottom up, 4 feet up, fried, just because the temperature's right. Heat rises.
Yeah. How many colonies were you running?
8 racks, 8 bins a rack.
Okay. Damn.
Anyways, now, positive side of this, it forces you. What died were the old, the infirm, the sick, the ones that were at the end of their life cycle. Mm-hmm. The ones that lived are the youngest, the healthy, etc. And thus the healthiest breeding pool is now left over. I've called the week off. is no, it's not ideal how I wanted to do it. But the benefit is I will now see a vast increase in the production once we get those going again, right? And if you talk to any serious rat breeders, they're going to tell you they call them off like every 6 months.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. So I'm doing mine every 6 months. What are you doing yours?
Honestly, I let mine go. I let mine. It's kind of like my give and take. I'm like, okay, you can live for as long as you want to live. And that is not the most effective way of doing it. No.
Yeah, because you get smaller litter sizes, but
100%.
morally, empathy, right?
Remember we talked about the first rat, Batty?
Yeah.
You know, I like that's my tribute to her. I guess that's bullshit, but
it sounded good.
It makes me feel better. I know it's not a good way of doing it, but I'm like, you know what? I'd rather them die on their own with their colonies. Like, I don't even like taking all the babies away from the moms. If you think that doesn't bother them, you're not paying attention.
Here, I'll tell you a quick story. So I had a mom. I was doing maternity rack at the time, so it was just her and her babies inside the rack. Every time I would open her bin, she would grab a baby from the front and she would run to the back. I ended up having to, sell some babies, so I grabbed all of her babies and I sold them. Next time I opened the bin, bro, she was at the front and she picked up her tail and ran to the back. And that fucked with me, bro, because I realized that she was accustomed to grabbing her baby and running to the back and protecting her baby, and the babies weren't there anymore, so she fucking picked up her tail and ran to the back. And I was like, holy shit, I can't fucking take every baby from the mom. Can't do it.
You're aware, man. They are very family oriented. There's a society.
Yeah.
If you want a really interesting read, look up the Universe 25 experiment.
Universe 25 experiment.
Universe 25.
Okay, yeah, I'll go check that out.
Actually, it was a rodent breeding. I believe it was mice, but anyways. And then, let me know.
Yeah, check that out.
No, I don't like wearing gloves. I don't kill the moms. I don't kill the dads. I let them live their life cycle. I don't change up the males and the females. I don't like changing males over. There is a hierarchy. There's a unit there. And when you fuck with it, you don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand what I'm doing, but I know it doesn't go over well. And more often than not, if I recognize patterns. So let's say I've got all black rats in one, and I take a white rat at it, and I put this in. I'll bet you a beer that white rat is going to be the next one to die, especially if it's on its own. Never transfer singles, doubles. Give them someone they know when they go in together. But even then, the thing is, unless you're really paying attention, did you just grab their best friend, or did you just happen to grab somebody from their mate that they don't even get along with, and now you're going to subject them to something else? So I don't separate them unless I have to. I don't like taking all the babies away from the moms. I do believe it causes stress. I don't like wearing gloves. I like going in calm. I like touching the animals. I like them knowing there's nothing to be afraid of. If you talk to people that have dealt with my rats or dealt with my ASFs, that they're very calm. I can pick up ASFs. I can hold them in my hands. I don't generally, there's an exception to every rule, but I don't generally get bit. I don't have to hold them by their tails. I don't have them scattering everywhere in panic. I also don't usually take ASFs. That colony just grows and grows and grows. So in their world, there is no real predator, right? There's nothing really to fear from me. And even when they escape, I can pretty much just
grab it. Yeah.
Not the rats, the ASFs.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, to your point, what you were just saying before, there you go. I noticed, so I would have a male die off, right? And I would put a new male in there, or, I would just notice that the way that they behave with each other is much different, because I would take a male from over here with these females and I put him in with some other females. Next thing you know, I hear them fighting, I hear them screaming, I hear like all kinds of stuff, man. I'm like, holy shit, like I'm literally taking this. Yeah, 100%. I had threw a new male in with some females, and there were a few babies in there, and he fucking killed all the babies.
Yeah, man.
Because they're not his. Yeah, they're not his.
Yeah, that's common. That's lions do that. All that is very common in the animal.
Exactly. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, you know what? If you're together, you're gonna stay together, and that's just how you that's your shit. Like these are your people, not your people, but these are your friends or whatever they are, and you guys are just going to live your lives out, and that's how it's going to be.
So what I do suggest, and what I do, and I'm not saying this is going to work, but if I have the dominant male, the bull die off, I'll bring in 2 young males that have been raised together, and I separate and I raise my females and my males together until I put them together. And you can keep males together right into adulthood. Like you can have 7, 8 full-grown bulls together as long as they've been raised together, as long as they know each other. You can have them together. So then I will take 2 bulls, not full-grown. Again, we're talking smaller, so that the females can still win the fight. And then I'll put the 2 males in with the 4 fawns, or the 4 does in this case. And that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of balances out where they're not getting bullied.
They know they have a buddy. There's not too much stress involved, and the females aren't going to just get, tagged and harassed, etc.
Yeah.
Now, by the same token, if I have to divvy up a colony, I'd rather take, 2 colonies of 3 and make a colony of 6, as opposed to break up a colony of 3. Like I have, a 1.3, the male dies. I have another 1.3, the male dies, whatever. I'll take that 3, put them together to the 6, and then I find that, again, you're going to have problems. I'm not saying nobody's going to die, but you'll get a better response than going, take these 6 individuals and put them into 6 different bins.
Yes.
Because you're fucking up society.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy, man. Actually, I love that you're actually talking about that, because not too many people do. Let's switch gears a little bit, man. When so you start breeding ball pythons, excuse me, you start breeding ball pythons. What's your collection up to right now? Just rough estimate. You don't have to count it up. I got 30 racks.
Around 200 adults and juvies. Like there's 120 adults behind me, and then there's another room that's got I don't know, 60 adults to juvies, and then there's a wall of hatchling racks that could hold about 250. And right now there might be, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 hatchlings, somewhere in there.
You're like 300 maybe?
I would say under 300. I think I can hold a maximum of 355 right now, but I'm juggling around some ideas. I was going to expand them. I think I'm going to downsize things a little bit, but.
So, okay, let's talk about that a little bit. So downsizing, you got to, obviously you have a big collection and you got to sell animals as they are produced. What's your main source to sell your animals? Are you doing expos out there? Are you selling a lot of animals to the States? Do you have wholesalers that you supply? Like, what does that look like for Canadian reptiles?
I'm very fortunate. I've been very fortunate and very blessed in that I haven't had to, I don't like to say this, but I haven't had to work very hard. I have the majority of my big sales are to the U.S. And that's the rapport that I've created with my clients and online and interacting with people and just basically cutting the shit, giving people the best deal I can while still charging a premium for the service of my time, because that's what it comes down to, is you're calling my time. There's no customer that I have that can't call me at any given time and then I'm not going to answer my phone or call them back or whatever. And that's customers from 10 years ago to customers from 2 weeks ago. So,
right. What are some difficulties that maybe you face when dealing with selling animals to people in the States? Are you only shipping out quarterly, once a quarter, once every 6 months?
Shipping can be frustrating because I'm at the mercy of weather. I'm at the mercy of FedEx in another country. I'm at the mercy of the company that is shipping from Canada. I'm at the mercy of the company that's receiving in the U.S.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. Are you working with an exporter from Canada? Like, is there a business, or are you doing that on your own?
Again, I'm very fortunate. I've known someone for a few years. I work primarily through Reptile Runner, and I've known Nelson for
forever.
Yeah. And he's always taking care of me, and he does all my shipping, and I've never had a problem. Everything's always arrived alive, safe, healthy, whether it's, to Wayne and Alice and Wasaga Beach at the time, or whether it went to fucking Puerto Rico. And, and we got delayed waiting for 3 weeks once it left, sitting at another shipper's waiting for paperwork to come through from the vet. You know, now
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Okay, so yeah, wait, before you keep going. So you said you have to wait for paperwork from a vet. So when you're shipping an animal out of Canada, you have to go get vet papers. Is that right?
if you're shipping an animal into Puerto Rico requires that they have a vet certificate of health for
Okay.
the animal to be brought in.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Didn't know that.
now Ron from BBM could tell you a lot more about this being in Puerto Rico than I can, but my experience was in this particular case. So the way this works is we have Reptile Runner. They take our animal, they ship it to the importer in the U.S. with the corresponding CITES permit. 2 individuals, 2 CITES permits to interact. So the government says, yes, this is legit. You can send this animal from here to there legally, abiding by all international rules, etc.
Uh-huh.
And for those of you who are watching, if you decide to message somebody about importing and exporting, make sure you have some idea of what's involved with the CITES permit, because it's really irritating to explain to people why there's a $250 shipping bill. And, and I don't mind talking to people, but if you haven't even done the research to look into what's involved with, an international shipping bill, and you're talking to me about a $50 snake on my website, and you're asking me about shipping when shipping is right in the fucking description, and you're just too lazy to scroll your fucking thumb 3 more swipes to read everything that you're asking me. Sorry, it's been a pet peeve.
It's okay. It's okay.
Anyways, case in point, animal goes over, and now so the animal's been received in the U.S., and that happens over the course of the weekend, right? The animal goes out and arrives on the weekend, then the animal gets unpacked, checked, healthy, good. Here's water, here's bedding, here's a quarantine rack. And now the corresponding Tuesday, I don't like shipping on Mondays. I don't like animals being shipped on Wednesday. We ship on Tuesday. The animal ships out from the U.S. on U.S. soil, from a FedEx location in the U.S. from distributor that we're discussing, and then the animal goes to your FedEx hub, etc., and arrives within 24 hours.
Right.
Now, in the case when it went to Puerto Rico, what ended up happening was we were all ready to go, and then Puerto Rican government said, whoa, vet certificate. So then my cohort in the U.S. had to then procure a vet certificate and get that lined up. So we were able to get that taken care of, but the process took an additional 3 weeks. Animal was fine. I was in fucking panic.
Of course, yeah.
Who's got my animal? Who's taking care of my animal? How do I know that this animal is being taken care of to the standards that I would care for it? And now how do I vouch for, despite the fact that I've worked with these people and, I trust these individuals, I still had to be kind of talked off the ledge by Nelson. He was like, Jay, you trust me? Yes, I trust you. I trust him. Okay. Let us do what we do. Everything is fine. He's feeding. He's quarantined it. It's being watered, fed. The animal got there bigger than I sent it. I didn't have to pay for the vet certificate. The customer was very understanding, very appreciative. But again, this is because of being upfront and telling them everything that's happening along the way.
Yeah, so you got to make sure that when you're dealing with these kind of situations that you have people that you can rely on and that you can trust to make good decisions on your behalf, and on behalf of the animal, because that's the most important part. So yeah, man, that's such a process, man. I stress out about, shipping an animal to another state, or just overnight. You're talking about it could be weeks to get an animal to somebody in Puerto
Once it's
Rico.
out of your hands, man, when you're going international, yeah, anything can happen. So this comes down to why I use the same. There are other companies that I've looked into. Reptile Express has done stuff for me before. Nothing against them. Sam does good work, etc. I like to stick with what I know. I'm trust. No problem.
Now, are you shipping? Is it frequent? Do you have the opportunity to ship? I mean, I know weather is obviously a
4 times
big
a year,
factor.
ideally.
Okay, so like once a
Sometimes
quarter.
things happen, and we only get 2 or 3. But yeah, ideally 4 times a year. I'll ship as many times as I can. As soon as I've sent out one, I'm always like, when's my next one? When can I go again? Right.
Yeah.
So.
And do you ever run into issues where customers are like, I don't want to wait 3 months,
Yeah. I don't want to wait 3 months either.
Yeah, but there's nothing really you can do about that because you're at the mercy of the exporter, right?
Let's say we have an asshole. Okay, not that I have assholes, but let's say you deal with an asshole customer and they want to get really pissy with you about timing and everything. Yeah, this animal's sitting here for 3 extra months. Are you sending me money to feed this animal for 3 extra months? Are you
Right.
going to give me the feed bill? Are you going to give me the bedding costs? Are you going to give me the water bill? Are you going to give me the heating costs? Are you going to give me the time? Are you going to give me anything other than fucking grief for the next 3 months that I'm now out? And guess what? You
Yeah.
only bought this animal for $200. Do you realize that you're literally consuming the profit? I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
But
You're just going about the motions.
I breed my own rats. It's not a big deal. It's win some, lose some. But I
Right.
don't always make a buck off every animal I sell. Sometimes it's just a matter of reducing the feeding costs. Sometimes it's just a matter of it's a good home. You know, I have animals. If you're out there and you're looking for an animal and you have what it takes to take care of an animal, you have the or you have the equipment, the heating pad, you have everything set up. You just don't have money for an animal, but you can talk to me and show me that you've got everything lined up. I'll give you an animal for free. I've got animals that need good homes. I don't have a problem with that. I'm all for that.
That's
But you
amazing,
got
bro.
to show me,
Salute.
right? Now, by the same token, it's always the little price tags that cause the biggest grief. The people that call me up and are dropping 3, 4, 5, 6K US, they're like, Jay, I want it. You got it. Yeah, we're good. Okay, here's the money. Sweet. I'm like, oh, yo, like, I was just Hector, for instance, just talking to Hector, who made a nice big purchase and everything. We're talking, some money's going on here. And I'm like, Hector, so here's everything. He's like, Jay, I don't care. I know you're good. You'll call me. I'll get it. No worries. Like, Hector, you just like, Jay, I'm good. You're good. If I didn't trust you, I wouldn't buy from you. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, you just give me enough money to go buy a car and doesn't give a fuck.
What a blessing, man.
$150 is, busting your balls over like, why is it, But that's part of business. That's
Yeah,
so.
you take your good with your best.
What's going on, Juan? What's up, buddy? That's give and take. Now, that's also, we talk about downsizing, and we haven't gone into that a little bit. This comes down to, how do I avoid these problems without being rude, without being discourteous, without cutting my customer base, etc. You improve the quality of your animals. You improve the value of your animals. You're not cutting people out. You're just increasing the value. I'll don't deal with anybody. So we'll start pushing a whole bunch of recessive projects together. And the idea is that at any given point, my goal is any given time, any egg I want to be worth at least $1,000 wholesale. That's my goal. Every fucking egg I want $1,000 at least wholesale. What's up, brother? It doesn't always work like that. You guys know genetics, but so how do we make that happen? We pair more valuable. We're constantly raising that up. So eventually, even the shit, and it's not shit, but you understand what I'm saying. Even the lowest.
The byproduct of the best animal is still phenomenal.
Right?
Monetary value and genetic.
Now, by the same token, you've got these hets, etc. And let's face it, especially with what's going on with Enhancer and DG and everything now, that's changing things. So, do you want to deal with that? Or do you just want to deal with the visuals? So one of the smartest things I ever came across, and again, not me, somebody else, was selling off the unwanted one for ridiculously low prices. Ridiculous. Like, I'm talking $5. Female hypo male have $5. But I'm not sexing it. You get what you get, and they haven't had a meal. You get what you get.
Yeah.
Now, when I came across this, I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he was like, no, it's got to go. I don't want it. Why am I putting this time and money into this hypo $50 whatever that I'm never going to recoup my $50 on? Right? And it comes back to what we talked about before about high school businesses and stuff. It's all about volume. Move. Right? So by moving that low stuff out, you're freeing up your time. You're meeting new customers. You're developing new relationships. Did I mention developing new relationships? That's why I'm here. That's why. And Terrence reached out to me a while ago, and I haven't been able to line things up with him. And I told you guys, I'm not one to like doing shows. I'm very introverted. I like to keep to myself.
But
but
you're
I have to
fucking
run
killing
the
it
business.
right now, just to let you know.
So it's one of those, you're like, okay. And then Ray reached out to me, and I was like, that's a fucking like. I sat down and kind of thought about things. I'm like, what am I doing? You've got to cultivate those relationships. I know this. I'm not practicing what I preach. Somebody calls me and asks me, I'm going to tell them this, but you know it, brother. But that's the whole point. If nobody knows about me, how are they going to know that I provide better service than anybody else?
Yeah,
If nobody
exactly.
knows about me, how are they going to know about my swag packs? If nobody knows about me, how are they going to know that they can call me at 11 p.m. and I'm going to answer the phone even if I'm out having beers with my buddies or smoking a joint out back or whatever the case may be? You know, so you have to step out
You
of
got
your
to put
comfort zone.
your you got to step out of your comfort zone. You have to
You
be
know, Brian
comfortable
and I
being
used to talk about
uncomfortable.
all the time. So,
And it's interesting, man, because you were doing that show with Brian, and you wouldn't think that you have, you wouldn't think that you were so introverted and that it made you uncomfortable to be out there doing that, because you did a great job, man. So yeah, I
we
appreciate you.
worked well together. You know, and believe me, there were many times where Brian had to pull me out of my comfort zone, had to kind of fucking give me a pep talker on the side, to kind of smack me around a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
so
Well, yo, listen, man. I'm glad that you came out of your comfort zone and you're fucking rocking with me here right now, and then you're gonna be rocking with T, and you're letting people know, like, and that's the beauty of it, man. It's like this is not just to help the audience. This is also to help the guest, because now you're getting maybe people with eyes on you that you possibly didn't have before. You know?
man, there's so many different fucking breeders out there, and nowadays everybody that's anybody has a logo, and logos don't count for shit anymore. And who did your logo doesn't count for shit anymore. So how do you distinguish yourself? How do you stand out against the rest?
You got to show people. You got to show people who you are, and it boils down to the person behind the animals. You know, yeah, if you have animals, they'll sell themselves if they're of high demand. But at
But
the
if
end
you're
of
an
the day,
asshole all the time, I mean,
yeah, you got to shoot
everybody's
yourself in the
got
foot.
something. You know, I'm no JKR, I'm no Billy, I'm no fucking,
Yeah.
Mark. So,
But you're doing it, bro. What do you mean you're not them? Of course you are.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
No, I
saying?
get it.
Those are the guys that I go to when I need shit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's nice. It's humbling to look back and to realize that there's some people out there that think I'm a lot bigger than I am, or that think I have an army behind me working of employees. I'm just one fucking guy doing everything, slugging it. But
Living the dream, bro. What are you talking about?
I love it, dude. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. But it never ends, right? Like people are like, oh, I want to run my own business, and I was that same like, oh.
Yeah.
Reality.
So listen, man, you're posting a lot of stuff on social media. Are you vending shows as well now with the ball pythons? I don't know how many shows you guys have up
I
there. I'm
keep
not
getting
really sure how
told
that
that I
works.
should and I need to, and I keep telling that person to piss off. My buddy Ty. I should get out there. I should do it. I have to update myself on the costs. I know it's gone down a lot, but I also look at the shows. It's like everybody's there. Unless you have something, in my opinion, and no disrespect to anybody else out there, but the way I see it, unless I have something that's fucking really hot, thanks, brother. Unless I have something that's really hot or that nobody else has, why am I going to go and cut my throat against everybody else?
So you kind of feel like if it's not exceptional, why put yourself out there?
If you know me and you know how I do business, you want to do business with me, and you don't have a problem buying animals from me and spending a lot of money because you know what you're getting is quality. Right. If you don't know me, that's fine, but you will be more inclined probably. You will be more inclined probably to go to the next cheapest booth over because somebody else will have the same thing and they'll probably be willing to cut the price lower. And that's not saying that I'm not willing to cut the price lower, but like why? Okay. I have my own rats. I have lots of.
So are your sales primarily from like MorphMarket transactions or repeat customers?
Is the biggest one, or repeat customers. Instagram and MorphMarket.
Instagram and MorphMarket. Okay, cool.
A lot of business is through Instagram. Networking, friends, people that know me, people that have talked to me, people that reached out to me, saw a post, started following me, asked me a question. We started the relationship off from there, needed a favor, whatever, or wanted to get into something, and one thing leads to the next. So, but yeah, like I said, once we start talking, social media, it's probably game over.
Yeah, typically social media is your go-to, which is great, man, because that's where you're going to be able to meet people that you wouldn't be able to see at shows. So it's super beneficial.
I like it because
Um,
it doesn't cost me anything.
how many clutches you having this year?
I don't know. If I knew
No.
that, I'd be already.
All right, yo, do you
Come on, Ray.
ultrasound
You
your
know I'm
female?
not going to answer these questions. You
Come
know
on,
me.
man. Come on, man. I want to know
I'm
I want to know the
hoping,
details, bro.
like, I would be happy to break 30, but I don't like breaking 30. That's a lot of fucking work, man. I don't have an army of employees. Everything corresponds, right?
Yeah.
30 clutches. Let's say it's 6. Let's say it's 30
180.
clutches, 6. That's 180 fucking babies. That's
Yeah.
180 pinkies every 4 days. That's 720 pinkies in a month. Or no, in 16 fucking days.
And this is why you're wanting to.
No,
This
that's
is
a
why you
fucking
want.
lot of pinkies.
So listen, this is why you want to dial back and kind of revamp the collection and raise the value of it instead of the quantity of it.
Yes. It comes down to, like I said, my time as I grow older, I don't like saying that, but it's true. My time becomes more valuable.
So clearly, multiple recessive projects are
100%. Where's that? Like,
typically where
you
it's
want
at.
to get into it? I tell people the same thing I did: is go low, start with the codoms, etc. Because most people, I'm sorry, are going to flunk out of this within 3 years.
An unfortunate statistic, but it is what it is.
So why are you going to go invest now? I have friends. I know people that went fucking balls to the walls. 50, 60K. And guess what? They're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And guess who bought a lot of their stuff and didn't pay the same price?
Yeah. So what are some big projects that you're working on or that you're excited about?
I'm pairing some quad hat stuff. I'm not gonna hit. I don't have a chance to hit any quad visuals, but I'm working some quad stuff. I'm working, playing with the same double visuals that I've played with before. I picked up some other stuff that I'm not going to talk about until the eggs show up, but I have my fingers in a couple pies that I'm pretty excited about that I've kept very low key. There's not too many people that know, and I mean, it's not to say you can't fucking find out if you talk to the right people, but again, I keep my shit to myself. Like, I know some people are like, well, why would you talk about what you're breeding? Because I don't know what you fucking have. So if I'm working on a project and you're working on that project, then that's great, man. But why am I going to fucking tell you I'm working on that project? Like, do you remember the Cold War, the race to the moon? Like,
so let me ask you this.
Don't tell your opponent what you're doing.
Do you think that kind of shoots you in the foot a little bit in the sense that if you let people know what you're working on, people that are maybe going in the same direction, you guys could collaborate to where you could get codoms that maybe you wouldn't have in that project?
Yes, but I'm not a collaborator, and again, this is, if you've watched The Keeper's Corner and shameless plugs back and forth, it's only going to help Brian because it's not on my channel, but if you go back and watch those episodes, I've always said the same thing. I am not terribly concerned about pairing with other people because I'm a pessimist. Shit goes wrong. I don't have a business partner because shit goes wrong. I have a best friend that I trust with my life, etc. And he's who I collaborate with. And that's enough for me. And, even then, Ty, I love you, buddy, but man, even then I'm like, I don't want that here. I don't want you bringing that in, but I'm very much, remember, I come from the funeral home. I come from Universal Precautions. I was working during SARS in the very beginning. Like, I respect Universal Precautions. I respect microbiology and all that stuff. And I know how easy it is to bring in an infestation. One mite, one problem, there's a reason I haven't had these problems in, years and years and years. Where the fuck is a piece of wood now that I've opened my fucking mouth? Because I take every fucking precaution possible. I don't touch animals at expos. If I go to an expo, you're going to see me with hands in my pockets. Like, I'm not coming too close to things. People are like, hey, you want to touch them? Like, no, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't.
Disrespect, but I'm not going to be a vector to my collection.
Yeah, a lot of people are not mindful of the topics that you're bringing up, bro. And they're just out here just running wild. but it's something that needs to be addressed and something that you need to be mindful about, especially when it comes to that.
Like if you go to an expo and you're not changing out your fucking clothes in the garage or something before you go into your collection, whoo, you're asking for trouble. I mean, more power to you if you're fine so far, but man, if you keep lighting a firecracker and sticking it in your pocket and then taking it out after a few seconds, eventually shit is not going to go well. So,
It goes on respect and unfollow majority of it. So yeah, man, that's interesting perspective, bro. Because I'm precautious about what I want to do, but I still put myself out there. So I'm optimist, right? I always see the silver lining. I always see the good intention or the good in people when maybe they're not showing me the good stuff, right? I try to find it, right?
very
And
true.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes it shoots me in the foot, and sometimes it works to my benefit, and that's okay, man. That's a part of life.
I don't
So what?
like, so I don't like photographing snakes and posting them until they're out of the egg.
Mhm.
Like if you see a picture of a snake and it's in the egg that I've posted, that snake's already out of the egg and healthy. There's no problems. Um, because I've learned, like I believe, like I said, Murphy's Law, man. I try to always think about anything that can go wrong and I try to prepare for it. And so I don't like talking about what's going to hatch, what's not. I manifest, I visualize, I say it to myself, yes,
Mhm.
100%. But I don't go out and say I'm going to hit this many clutches and I'm going to hit this or this, or I don't post, like I said, the clutches. You may see me show a clutch as it goes up, but I'm not going to post it to Instagram until it's hatched and it's healthy and I'm good, right?
Right. It's kind
Um,
of like wishing for all females in a clutch, and you end up getting all males.
yeah, I think that you jinx yourself for lack of it. And it's silly and it's superstitious and it's everything else, but I very much believe in manifestation. And there's a lot of things that have been proven why that works on
Mhm.
a very basic level. Just like if you're always focused on the goal, everything you do contributes towards that goal, whether you realize it or not. So by constantly manifesting that goal and by constantly speaking about that goal, you're unconsciously working towards it constantly, right? And then in
Right.
turn, you're bringing yourself that much closer to that goal, which then succeeds that goal. But I also like let's wait and see, old bull, young bull, walk down.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's kind of like you set yourself up for disappointment when things don't go the way that you planned and that you spoke about them. So better to let it happen, is what you're saying, and then speak about it after it's already happened instead of prematurely getting excited about something when there's many possibilities that it's not going to end up the way you want it.
So like I don't ultrasound,
I
I
was going
don't
to ask you, do you
palpitate,
ultrasound? Okay.
I don't I
When the clutches
I don't.
come, the clutches come.
She knows what's good. I feed, I pair, I watch the body language. I'm confident that I know when they're pregnant or when they're gravid or working towards it just based on what I see in the bin. You open them up and they're entwined and there's um, streak marks and tail wagging and everything else. Yeah, we had a good night. I open up the bin and she's at one end and he's at the other and he's all curled up like holy fucking, she's hogging the heat. Okay, she's either probably ready to go or these two are not interested, depending on what's led up to that, because I pick my pair and I run with that pair. I don't change that pair.
Hmm.
I will have determined that ahead of time. Like, you know what I mean? Every time I pair them, they're never together. Okay, they're not interested in each other. I do
Right.
believe that is a factor with snakes. There's not just pair whoever you want and they're going to go at it. I do believe that certain ones are not compatible. Some are too timid. Like, I'm not saying that it's like, oh, I believe in this and you believe in that. I'm saying some are just not aggressive enough to do the
Watch
job.
it.
And in the breeding world of animals, generally speaking, the rule is that the females want to find the best. What the hell's going on here? Want to
Yeah,
find
no, I'm looking at it. Hold on 1 second, bro, because this shit is bothering me right now. What the fuck is this? Uh, ban user and delete their comments. Yeah, let's do that. All right. No, here we go right here. Ban user and delete their comments. Wow, this shit's coming in thick right now. Yo, this is crazy. Never had this happen before.
right?
All right, did I get them all?
I have no idea.
So, did I get them all? Let's see. I don't know what that word is, but it looks like some spam shit. So we're gonna block you too. Get out of here, fucking weirdos, scumbags. Vanilla Ice.
Never seen anything like this.
Store brand Vanilla Ice. Lazy Run. Okay, you talking shit? You're out of here too. Yo, I'm getting spammed like crazy. It says ban user and delete their comments.
Well, you know you've hit it when you start getting scammed like this. Well done,
Yeah, we made it to the big time, guys. Yo, this is so crazy. Wow. Sorry, Jay. This is
Don't apologize to me. It's not your fault.
out of my control, bro. What is the deal here? Damn, how do I turn off the comments? Can I do that? Yeah. A 7-Eleven manager talking shit. Lord Jesus.
Holy shit.
Yeah, do you see what's going on right now? It's crazy. It's bots. Yeah, it is bots, but how do they get here? Who brought them here? How many do I have to freaking ban? Sorry, Jay.
Don't apologize, man. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it's completely... At least if it was like reptile related, it would make some sense.
Yeah, at least, you know, say Ray sucks.
Oh, there you go. Reptile related.
If anything, yeah. Wow, man. So I'm not really sure how to stop this from happening, bro. I just keep blocking them all, but...
It's all good, buddy. We can, I mean, I've actually got to fucking bounce. I thought we were going to be done a long time ago. I just saw what time it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of something, but we can.
All right, so listen, Jay.
More.
Yeah, sorry about this, but at the end of the day, man, do me a favor.
Yeah, man.
For somebody that wants to get in and wants to take this more serious and is interested in you know, going to the next step of becoming a business and trying to be successful in what they love and what they're passionate about, what's your advice to them?
Decide what it is that you want, what your end goal is, and then figure out how much it's going to cost you to get there, and then decide if you still want to do it. And that's not me. That's taken from somebody else, but that's probably some of the best advice that I've heard in a while, and it seems to relate to just about anything, regardless of whether it's financial or otherwise. Decide what you want, what it's going to take to get there, and then decide if you're willing to put it in to make it happen. And then if you are, don't fucking forget it and drive after it every day, because, you know, otherwise you're just wasting your fucking time.
Yeah, make the commitment and fucking stick to it.
It's not going to be easy. You're going to run into all sorts of problems, but, you know.
All right, well, listen, Jay, man, super sorry, bro. Again, I love that you came on. I appreciate you.
No worries, bro.
Your mindset behind things is definitely different from the norm, you know what I mean? And I respect it, and I appreciate you sharing it with us, because there's all different ways to think about things, and that's the beauty of what we're trying to do here.
100%, bro.
All right, so, damn, typically I want to do a giveaway, but with this shit right here is not working out right now. All right, so Jay, where can people find you? And
Instagram at Canadian Reptile Adventures, Canadian_Reptile_ Adventures. Give me a follow. We always take care of followers. Primarily, I always encourage people. You know, it's always the quickest, easiest way to get in touch with me in terms of sharing videos, content, other things like that with the reptiles. The website, or rather, MorphMarket, Canadian Reptile Adventures. And email info@CanadianReptileAdventures.ca. So
yeah, and you have reptiles on your MorphMarket right now? You have things up for sale?
Yeah, there's a bunch of animals up there. There's not as many as I have for sale. I mean, but yeah, that's the other thing. It takes so much time to post, and I'm always kicking my ass to get out there and post more. I think
Yeah,
there's
well,
like
you're
80
one.
or something posted on
You're,
there, but just
you're one
because it's
man
not
show,
on there
man.
doesn't mean I don't have it. It just means I haven't posted it yet. So if there's something you're looking for in particular, the people that I do business with are people that want to do business with me specifically and aren't so, do you have one of said morphs I'm looking for? I really want to buy from you, so to speak. So if you don't see what you're looking for, hit me up. I may have it. It may be in one of these racks, and it may be something I'm looking to downsize away from. So you don't know unless you ask, and that would be the best thing that I could say.
All right, guys. So make sure you reach out to Jay. Ask him tons of questions. He loves talking to people. Every post that you make, you talk about educating people and answering questions and all these kinds of things, man. And I love that. Big salute to you for doing that. Oh man, thought I got them all. All right. Well, listen, man. Unfortunately, we're not going to do the giveaway right now because we got a bunch of crazy stuff going on in the chat. What I will do is figure out how to make some mods so that you guys can help me out with this stuff, and I will do 2 giveaways next show. So make sure you tune in for that, where we have Jeremy Bod from Bod's Exotics, I think it is, or Bod's
Nice.
Reptiles.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jeremy's awesome, man. I love this guy. So that's going to be cool to get his perspective on a lot of things and on the business end of our industry. And we'll see you guys next time.